Welcome back to this unnamed city. We're picking up right where we left off in the last episode, focusing on the farm industry, putting in various plots, warehouses, and agricultural buildings, getting all those things into play. One comment from the previous episode suggested adding more commentary throughout gameplay. So for episode 2, I'm giving my insights as we go a shot. I'm going to try and share what mods I'm using, why I'm making various decisions, and any comments I have on how the city is evolving. And hopefully it doesn't get too crazy. When I was reviewing this footage before doing audio recording, I noticed something. Compared to the first episode, I'm not shifting the camera movement as much, or shifting the camera as much. And it's getting a little bit smoother in how I move from one step to the next and recognize where I want things to go. I do admit I have a lot to learn about Adobe Premiere Pro. This is the second or third attempt at doing a recording. Just in general, the first video was the first. But I've got a lot of room to grow in learning about Adobe Premiere Pro, so I'm thinking I'll treat the remaining episodes from this particular city as editing practice and learning new things, and potentially start another one, so maybe have a couple at the same time, but we'll see what time allows. Much of my work in this build has focused on figuring out overall aesthetic, like how buildings are placed, which looks right in the different zones that we're working with, and of course also trying to balance the city's budget. Currently, it's a negative, which is on par for what I've done in the past. Budgeting has always been a challenge for me in City Skylines, first version and this one. Budgeting in-game has always been a challenge for me, but I've decided that with this series and any others that I do, or any cities that I'm building, I really want to have the budget be something that I improve and keep in the positives. Now, some of this is inspired by other content creators for City Skylines 2 that I've grown to love and enjoy. Watching them hit the play button and start doing all their work so that way the city could develop progressively rather than being halted by the pause button was really impressive to see, and it changed how I had been playing the game, which I'm sorry, but leaving it on pause, that caused so much stress for me and throughout gameplay, and ever since I just hit the play button and let it run, it's a lot more fun to kind of work through different various problems in different parts of the city as you go. So lack of parking, lack of green space, missing some housing. You can kind of see how my brain navigates from one to the next. Whenever I need a creative reset, I do find myself watching Few Candy's Cities Skylines 2 content. I'm really enjoying the Philadelphia series. And I love the creative detail that she puts into each development. And her videos have actually changed and made me rethink my approach and make smarter decisions throughout my builds. So, thank you, Few Candy. You're building super awesome stuff and inspiring me to make unique things too. As far as mods go, I'm using quite a few. Some of my primary uses, or my favorites, include Anarchy, Find It, Historical Start, Move It, Plot the Growables, and Recolor. There's more, of course, but if you're interested in a full list or walkthrough of how I use them, let me know, and I can use that as more practice for Adobe Premiere Pro and give you some insights of why I do what I do and the decisions I make. So from this point, I'm wanting to incorporate my police and my fire station, but I don't want them directly on a two-way road. So I'm using Move It to kind of take them right off of there so they have their own space to work. This may come back to bite me. If anybody knows the best way to work with these, I'm kind of just flying by the seat of my pants here. Because I've established a main downtown region, I'm wanting to create some little offshoots of those commercial spaces. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm starting to develop a very small commercial space that's an offshoot of one of the main roads that hopefully will be a little less traffic, but I also could be kidding myself. I was really enjoying looking at the Eastern European homes, buildings, structures that had come with that particular pack. With these buildings, I was starting to play around with the mod recolor. For these ones, I wanted to test them out and see if I could get them to match the firehouse, maybe potentially have this section of road themed around that particular color scheme. So it could be like a old structure that used to be a part of the main city drag or the police force fire department. From here, I'm starting to get a little bit into my landscaping. You can see that with the set line, so the third from the bottom, I have one selected. Now these are from the mod tree controller. It's the ability to create a custom brush. So to do this, you hold Control, select the trees, bushes that you want, and then click on one of the custom set buttons before releasing the Control button. And just like that, you've got a reusable brush you can come back to whenever you need. For me, a lot of times I forget to turn down the brush strength, and I'm running at almost 70 or 100%. Just like with roads, I sometimes don't actually turn Anarchy on when I'm working with a brush of this kind. As we move over towards the water, I'm starting to develop a high residential housing space. Now, as I'm thinking about the road layouts, I like to think about how would I travel here? Would I enjoy traveling on these roads? Is it an interesting way to get from point A to point B? Or is there a cool little shop that I wouldn't have known was here otherwise? I'm the same way at home, so when I'm driving around. And I like to think of myself in these Sims shoes. So here I am starting to develop a high-rise area that's close to the water, something that might be a little bit more of an expensive housing space, a little more upscale. Now, these different upscale buildings, to me, I'm a huge fan of the high-rises that came in the Chinese pack. I think that these structures look phenomenal together in little clusters, similar to the ones you can see from the UK pack in the background. And making little, or sometimes big, housing structures or housing developments is actually really fun to do, especially with the Recolor app, because then you can make them all themed like each other. That's when you can get into some really fun stuff. As I'm going to select different structures here and I work through this, I start to remember that, oh yeah, I have things like Move It and Anarchy. So Anarchy gets turned on so that I can play with how these buildings look, can line them up a little bit better with one another to make them look like an entire structure, and slowly continue adding more with the assistance of Anarchy, and then Move It. From here I add in a park, add in some parking to help people out, especially since these buildings can hold quite a large number of people. I notice as I'm working that my different bars of needs are going down. So from here I'm like, okay, I need some low residential, like I need something that's medium as well, or I'm at least assuming that I'll be needing that in the future. So I'm placing those in to kind of fill in that space. While people are moving in, I wanted to start working on the next level of where housing will be placed. With this particular map, there's so many different opportunities to create tiered spaces. Working with the curved line tool or the straight has helped me to really play around with changing up the way that my roads look and giving them a little bit more of an organic experience with the terrain. As I worked through these different neighborhoods and developing the new arterial, I noticed that traffic was starting to back up and my funds were still definitely dropping. So I, as you saw, raised taxes a little bit and then started working on different intersections by changing road types, adjusting layouts, and even removing some of the crosswalks. While the main road into downtown did start to clear up, I used Find It to place some more commercial buildings. And you can see that little development getting created right here. While the main road in downtown started to clear up, I used Find It to start placing in different commercial buildings. I wanted to make sure that my Sims would have more retail options and thus take care of that need. But with my budget still in the red, after I finished this small little stretch, I moved into industries. With my budget still in the red, I turned to other industries like forestry to generate additional revenue. I also increased my taxes again. And from this point forward, most of the development focuses on farming and forestry industries to try to stabilize income. Now that I've placed my dairy house, I've hit that lovely milestone of having enough farming buildings. I kind of use it as my centerpiece for that farming space. Because I'm still in the negative, I realize, hey, these are a bunch of different things that I need to probably actually invest in. And so from here, I shift myself over to another space and look for some flat terrain that connects with the highway. What I thought would be nice is to develop a small town just on the other side of that ridge. And so as I'm working through this process, I'm like, okay, what are the things that I need? And then my distracted brain goes back to commercial. Now, me not playing this game and watching, I realize that I've, oh my gosh, gone into the positive for my revenue stream. But I'm really enjoying placing buildings with anarchy on and with roads snapping off to try and create little business districts. Now that I've gone through with Anarchy and individually placed a few different trees, I like the way that that space is growing up, or at least the trees are growing up into the area. My budget is still fluctuating positive and negative revenue, so from here I'm focusing on industries like forestry to generate some additional revenue. From this point forward, the build mostly focuses on forestry and farming, introducing these areas to help stabilize the income. While working with the different industries, as I start to move here from forestry towards farming, I'm noticing that I was starting to use a lot of a particular building in Find It, and this is the Clean Industry Zone buildings. I found them on the mod shop and thought that it sounded great for at least encouraging less pollution across the city's footprint. So you can see me placing some of these along the main road. Before getting too far, I'm going to go ahead and utilize some of these development points. So I get tourist attractions, college, university, medical, technical university, and then browse through the others before selecting a hospital and the water treatment plant. Before we finish up today, I need to make sure that I address housing. I got a big demand for it. So I want to increase the interest in some of these areas by adding in a water park before laying out the concept of a new residential zone branching from our main street. So this road I'm about to lay here is going to serve as the visual cue for where things pick up on our next time together. Thank you.